Hi friends, my name is Katie Kaiser. I'm really excited that you all decided to tune in today, whether I know you in person, whether I know you virtually, or whether we have not met yet. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing some time with me and for listening to what's coming up for me on my heart. I know that the reflections that I'm going through right now have added a lot of value to my perspectives, and I'm hoping that they can do the same for you. What I want to talk to you guys about today is something really real. It sounds almost a little scary to say out loud, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to be transparent. I'm going to be open. I'm going to be authentic. Those are really important values to me, because if we can't be that genuine with one another, if we can't be that genuine with ourselves, then how in the world are we ever going to overcome some of these difficulties, some of these hurts, some of the suffering that we're currently experiencing? So, without further ado, let's dive in. Since I was a kid, I can remember these times in my life when things would get super hard. Like when I was in kindergarten, my parents got divorced. And for those of you who have had families who have broken up a little bit, you know that it's not just like a smooth break usually. Like there is a lot of turmoil that comes from that, a lot of processing, a lot of emotions, a lot of interesting family dynamics. And when things would get tough for me when I was a kid, I remember wanting to hide. And there's this particular time when I was like 7 or so, when my parents had already divorced, both parents had remarried, we were living in different homes, there was a lot of fighting between the parents, there was a lot of like me feeling like I wasn't seen or like I wasn't valued, like there was just a lot of chaos going on in my world. And I remember specifically wanting to go inside of my closet and hide. And so I did. I had this like soccer ball bean bag, and I put it in there and I sat down on it. All the clothes were hanging down and I just like hid, and I felt a little bit more safe there. But more than anything, I think honestly, you guys, I went there to feel like no one, I wasn't going to bother anyone there. Like no one could see me. I wasn't going to impact anyone negatively. And that strong moment from when I was like 7 years old has replayed itself in different ways throughout my adulthood, to be honest with you. A few years back, I was in a pretty unhealthy situation, both in my relationships, in my work, in who I was as a human being. And when things would get really tough for me, I would literally go into the spare room, open the closet door, shut the closet, and like hide under all the random crap you have in a closet. Like I had my snowboard in there, and I had like my watercolor materials and a bunch of winter coats that you don't normally wear throughout the year. And I would find that place because I felt like I wasn't going to be hurting anyone, and maybe that meant that no one could hurt me. But I knew when I was in those moments, whether I was 7 or whether I was 25, the pain in my heart was super, super, super strong in those moments. Like almost to the point, you guys, and not even almost, like to the point where I felt like I didn't want to exist. And I know that sounds kind of crazy. For those of you who know me, like I don't know, it's hard to conceptualize the fact that someone wouldn't want to exist when seemingly they have so much success. And it's not that I wanted to die. It's not that I was at a point where I wanted to kill myself. It's that I didn't want to exist because I felt like my presence was negatively impacting others. And it was debilitating. It was pressing. And those don't happen that much anymore. Like I kind of have a lot of things figured out in my life now. I'm in a really happy place. However, I've been working on a huge project behind the scenes, and I'm going to save all the details for you guys. But I've been working on something pretty big, and actually not only considering, but beginning the first steps of starting a business of my own. And it's scary. And I'm having a lot of self-doubt come up and a lot of fears. And I got to this moment the other night that just kind of came out of nowhere. Like I'd been working hard on things all day, and then the evening rolled around, and I got to this point where I felt like that again. Like I felt like for some reason my idea wasn't enough. and therefore I wasn't enough. And I needed to come up with all of these huge ideas to be able to make this little idea happen, and I didn't have the resources, and I didn't have it, and I felt like, why even try? Why even put myself out there? Because what is going to be seen wasn't enough anyways. And I talked to my boyfriend at the time about how I was feeling, but I just was really upset. And so I ended up getting off of the phone and I said, I think I really need to cry. And honestly, as soon as I got off the phone, I started bawling, like just those like alligator tears came out of my eyes. Like it was messy. I went on the floor and it was not pretty. Okay. There was like a solid 15 minutes where I felt like that. And all of a sudden I received a text message from my boyfriend, just reminding me of how much he's there for me through the tough times, through the good times, and that I was going to get through this, that I was strong. And if only I could see myself the way that he sees me, then I wouldn't be feeling like this. And two things came out of that. For one, it stopped me from sobbing because I realized that I was seen. And I think, honestly, you guys, that's what I didn't have all those other times before. I didn't feel seen or valued. And so I devalued myself and tried to not see myself, right, by hiding physically. And so that night, interestingly, like I called him back, we talked, and I was relatively fine. He went to sleep because he lives 3 hours ahead of me. And I was up, like I was perked up, I was ready. And so all of a sudden, like all of these ideas started coming to me, and I actually had created this new vision board with some new powerful words. And like for 3 hours, from like midnight to 3 a.m., I had crafted like what my vision of my life was going to be like my future life, the one that I've been envisioning, the one that I want, the one that I know that I am capable of, but wasn't feeling like it a few minutes before that. And the next day, interestingly, it was a Sunday. And so I went to church, and church just like, it absolutely blew me away. Like I felt like all the messages were intended for me to hear. There was a man there that came and talked about the mission trips that he's been on. And he came to remind us and remind me, I felt like specifically, of these three things. He said that we all have inherent value, that we all have the capacity, but what he meant by that was like the capacity to love, the capacity to embrace the goodness of the world and to be able to share that. And then the third thing was that we all have significance because we were placed here with our specific gifts, our specific talents in this specific location that we're at, and all of the pieces have aligned, and like that is significant. We matter, we are important. So to be reminded of those things was powerful in and of itself, and there was a lot more from that message, but I'll save that for another story. But later on in the day, my boyfriend pulled up, he pulled out his Bible, and he opened it up to a random passage and he came across Psalm 18, and he read through it, and it was really cool stuff, great information. And then he went to church later on that night, and his pastor pulled up like Samuel 2. I don't know. I'm still learning about all these things. But anyways, it was exactly the same Bible verse that he had just randomly opened to. And so they dived into that. They talked about it. And he called me afterwards. He's like, Katie, I need to tell you this. Like, I feel like this passage was exactly what was coming up for us right now because of what you were experiencing last night. So here's the verse, and let me break it down for you a little bit. So it says, Psalm 18, verse 1 and 2, say, I love you, Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, my deliverer. My God is my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield, and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. So I broke this down a bit, you guys, because I wanted to understand, what do all of those terms mean? When it says the Lord is my rock, a rock well, we all know what a rock is, but like that can represent a lot of physical blessings. It can represent strength. I guess there was this one story, I think it was Moses, who hid inside of a rock one time when there was a lot of crazy stuff going on. But a rock is really solid and it's unchanging. So God represents that rock, that solid piece that is unchanging, that provides those physical blessings, that is that strength for you. Then the next thing that compares God to is a fortress. And a fortress is kind of like a fort. It's all walled off from the city, and it's usually supplied with food and water and ammunition, and it represents protection and defense against whatever was coming at you. The next thing it says is that you are my deliverer. And a deliverer, it means to cause to escape, and it basically carries you away from whatever suffering you are having into a safe zone. And you guys, I don't know if you're picking this up, but like I needed a fortress. I needed a rock. I needed some kind of protection in that closet. That's why I hid. That's why I would hide under my covers in my bed, or I would go in the closet, or I felt like I needed protection of some kind. Okay. The fourth thing it says is that you are my refuge, or I take refuge in you. Refuge means to hide. It means shelter. It means comfort. It means safety. It says you are my shield. A shield is for protection. It guards you. It defends you. Provides a screen. And then it says a horn. You are the horn of my salvation. And I was thinking like, like a horn like that, but that's not what it was. It was a horn like animals have on their head. And what do they have horns on their head for, you guys? It's for fighting. It's for protection. It's to show dominance. It's to show strength and power and victory. And the last one it says is you are my stronghold. And I looked that up, and it says a stronghold is a place to flee quickly. It's where you can retreat, find strength, and find protection. So in short, it's a lot of words to say one thing, that we are basically protected, we are safe, we have a fort around us. So in all of these times when I was a kid, in all these times when I've currently been an adult, when I get to those super low lows where I feel like crying, where I feel defeated, when I feel like I don't want to exist anymore because maybe I'm putting out negative things and it's influencing people negatively, like that's first of all like just irrational. But second of all, when it is coming up anyways, when I want to go to that fortress, when I want to go to my closet, you guys, do you realize what that means? Like, I can go to my fortress, but my fortress is represented by this all-loving God, this powerful creator who has got my back, right? Like, so I drew this picture of like, okay, I don't know if you can see it, but like I'm in a bed, I'm cuddling my boyfriend, and my cat is cuddling there as well. We're comfy stuff. And then this is kind of like my fortress. It's made of rock. It's real stone. It's hard. We are in the hands of God. Then this I imagined was like a shield of loving energy, of just like an orb. And then all these out here, those are all the horns, because they're gonna mess some stuff up out there for me in terms of like the pains or the suffering that was coming up. And you guys, I'm still learning about all these things, but this could represent, whatever's out here could represent the enemy. It could represent the negative self-talk you have. It could represent the debilitating feelings that you're suffering under. But you guys, inside of this fortress, inside of this refuge, we are protected. We are safe. We are loved. And within that area, we have to remember these three things that guy at church said. He said that we're valuable. We have the capacity to love and to experience that, to embrace it. And we're significant. And inside of this fortress, you guys, that's where we can grow. That's where we can take a moment to just kind of, back off for a second, because we all get there. It's tough out in life. But if you know that you have that safe zone, then when you're ready, you can go move forward again, because you already have that protection on the outside. So I'm going to challenge myself to remember that exists, and that's always there for me. And I challenge myself to call upon God, to call upon Jesus when things are difficult. When I feel like that, I want to remember that I'm not alone. And I wanted to make this video not only to remind myself of that, but to let all of you know that you also have access to that. Like at any point in time, it exists, it's there for you. And for what it's worth, I hope that it added a lot of value to your lives. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for allowing me to be seen and heard. Thank you for allowing me to feel valued and respected and loved. I appreciate you all. I love you all. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye, guys.